Hey there, Tara Boston Kimber here with Counseling Hub, and I I had somebody call me the other day, and I thought that I would just talk to you real quick about this. I think I've done a video before on how to choose a counselor that fits for you, but it's worth talking about again. So if you're reaching out to somebody and you're trying to figure out if they're a good fit for you, um, here are some things to think about. Number one, are they answering the questions that you have? So, for example, I call somebody once to get something set up, and yes, counselors go to counseling. If I assume that that's well known, but maybe it's not. And it's nice to have the space. I mean, I advocate for counseling because I believe in it, and therefore I also love going for myself because it gives you plenty of wonderful space. So I called somebody to get something set up, and I had a couple of questions for this person, and I felt very, very rushed on the phone, and they were only interested in getting something on the books and figuring out if I had insurance. So I did not want to have a half-hour conversation. I did not have 1,001 questions, but I didn't get anything answered that I was interested in getting answered. And I ended up calling back and canceling, and this is my own stuff, but I wasn't interested. Like, I just wasn't interested in going. Um, yeah, so basically because I didn't have any space at first to even ask questions of her. So, if somebody calls, or if you're going to call somebody to figure out if this person is a fit for you, that's probably one thing to keep in mind is, are they willing to talk with me at least for a few minutes to find out what I'm even calling for, to answer any questions I might have, etc., to maybe appease my anxiety. I mean, I'm comfortable with counseling, therefore I'm not as anxious when I call somebody. And for a lot of people, it probably is, it might be your first time reaching out to go see somebody. So I know how hard it can be for some people, not everybody, but for some people, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of guts to make that first phone call. So when people call me in particular, if they're calling the Counseling Hub, I'm the one that fields the phone calls. I spend at least, I mean, I would say a good 15 minutes on the phone, at least. And the first thing I want to know from people is, what questions do you have for me? Like, what questions do you have about this process, about counseling, about any questions, period. And then from there, I want you to feel most comfortable. I want you to feel comfortable first, and then I'll say, okay, so this is how some of the policies that we have, etc. Then I'll go into some of the logistical things, excuse me, and we kind of go from there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I would say you want to gauge if you get scheduled with somebody, or when you get scheduled with someone, I usually tell people to give it about 3 sessions to feel like if you're really clicking with this person. The reality is that most counselors will likely be able to help you with whatever it is that you're dealing with or going through. However, you're not going to click with every single one, and that's not an issue. I mean, it's okay. Like, we're taught in school, I teach my students this, that not every single person that comes in the door is going to fit with you. And really, it's if we're doing this for the benefit of the client, for the work that we do is for clients. We want to help people. If a client is not getting helped by something, then I encourage them. I check in on this throughout sessions. I encourage them to kind of bring it up and say, I want to know if this is working for you, and if it's not, what can we change, if anything? And if we can't change anything, then maybe a referral is in order. I won't leave people high and dry by any means, but again, I want people to get the most out of their sessions. So the number 2 thing I would say is comfort with your counselor. And I don't mean I'm uncomfortable talking about this topic. I mean, literally, like, I feel like I can relax around this person. I'm able to disclose things that are hard to talk about. I feel safe. I don't feel judged. I feel affirmed for who I am. These are things you want to be kind of thinking about. So the third piece I would say, and this is my own bias, I really value transparency. Not only as a client, I value it in a counselor, but as a counselor, I value it in a client as well. So if if somebody is reaching out or they're getting something set up with me, I I try my damnedest to be the most transparent that I can be. I'm not talking about like, crying on my client's shoulder about their life or something like that, but I am talking about I'm not going to keep any agenda I might have, which I try not to have any. I'm not going to keep those hidden from a client. So, as a client, if you go in to see somebody and you feel like this counselor has something that, like, there's some weird, it feels like a hidden motive, but I can't really tell. A, I would say call it out and ask, like, hey, this feels funny when we talk about blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I feel uncomfortable with it for some reason. I feel like you want me to do something, but you're not telling me what it is. It's the easiest way I can think about it, or the easiest, maybe like the simplest way I can explain it is asking if there are hidden agendas or hidden motives in the dynamic between the two of you, etc. And yeah, just being willing to have the conversation. So, okay, so the last thing that I would say, so one is asking, are they answering questions when you call in? Two is your comfort level, I would say by the third session, is hopefully comfortable. And if it's not, then maybe ask for a referral or say, like, this isn't working for me because of blah, blah, blah. Maybe you can talk about it. Third, you do want transparency with your counselor. You want to know where they're coming from, what angle they have, what their intentions are, etc. And if you don't understand why they're doing something, you can just ask. And then the fourth thing I would say is, I just lost it, is, it was something along those lines. It was something about, this is what it was. If you have an issue with your counselor, whether it's something they've said or something they did or something, like you're just angry because all this stuff is coming up and you want to feel better and you just feel angry when you felt angry one session when you left, or, talk about it. Counseling is the thing I love the most about that, like, physical space, that metaphorical space, is that there's nothing taboo. I mean, there is no such thing as TMI. You talk about anything you want to. It can be really uncomfortable for people, I would say necessarily so in some cases, but if there's something going wrong and you're not comfortable with it, if it's whatever it might be, like I said this and then you had this look on your face and it looked like disgust and I felt really judged in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, you just get to you can call it out. And I love that about counseling. I do that with clients. I encourage clients to do that with me. And if you have a counselor who's not willing to even engage in that kind of dialogue, I don't know. My bias is that, again, my perspective, my bias, this is like where I'm coming from, obviously, but I would be probably, there are some exceptions, I will say. There are certain styles of therapy. Someone that's doing like a so the other thing, I mean, it's personal preference, it's what you want out of a counselor. Again, I value like transparency, honesty, talking about what's going on in the room at the time that it's going on. I encourage that. Don't, then you're probably going to be looking for different things. So again, trying to be honest with yourself and true to what you want. So anyway, that's it. Just a quick little thing. And yeah, I'm in my future child's nursery, just hanging out. I'm not just hanging out. I'm here for a reason. But anyway, that's why you've got, I don't even know if you noticed the little giraffe back there. So have a fantastic day, week, year, what have you. And as per usual, if you have questions or thoughts or comments, leave them below. You can subscribe for more videos of the like, and you can email me directly, Tara, Tara, @thecounselinghub.com. Okay, thanks. Bye.